Hey y'all, it's Amani here, and it is so crazy how much this young woman has been on my mind, like here and there, the past few weeks. We covered this story a few weeks ago. Man, this year's going by so fast, it could have been a month ago. I don't remember at this point. But we did cover Adriana Smith's story. She was a young woman, a nurse, and she was having headaches. She went to the hospital with her husband, and because she was just a few weeks pregnant, the hospital did not treat her properly, gave her some pills or something, sent her home, and she ended up getting worse. And then her husband found her like passed out on the floor when he woke up, and I think she had already passed away. It turned out she had blood clots on her brain, and the hospital didn't even do the proper checks. And there's a whole bunch of theories around that maybe they were afraid of finding something that needed attention, and then having to decide, whether or not to treat her and how that would affect the fetus. So instead, they just let whatever happen happen. And their neglect led to her passing away prematurely and needlessly, all for a clump of cells, essentially, because this was not like a 6 month or 8 month baby. This was a couple weeks of being pregnant, and they decided that that was more important than her life. So they decided to keep her body and just use her body as an incubator to finish this pregnancy, which is insane when you realize just how early she was along. But there's been a major update, super disturbing. So I feel like I should have given this warning earlier. I'm sorry, but it gets more gruesome from here. But it turns out that her baby was actually retrieved from her body on Friday. And it's apparently because she was decomposing so much that they had to, 3 months early, remove the fetus from her body. And people are saying this is not a C section. They're calling it that. And we have to watch the wording that they use as well because it's very manipulative. This is not a C section. That would have been a procedure done on an alive woman. She had passed away, so this is more of like a dissection, is what people are saying. Yeah, this is really super depressing. Like, at least now her family has access to her body to give her a proper burial and give her the dignity that she didn't receive in life. But yeah, let's get into it. So, according to NBC News, it says the baby of Adriana Smith, a brain dead pregnant woman who was being kept alive by ventilators under Georgia's abortion law, was delivered Friday, her family said. Smith's mother, April Newkirk, told NBC that the baby, named Chance, was born prematurely via emergency C section. She said the baby weighed 1 pound and 13 ounces and is in the neonatal intensive care unit. This is not her with her child. She's pregnant here with her firstborn son. So again, the photos are kind of manipulative. They act like she was so far along. She was not. This is an old photo of her first pregnancy of her son that is currently like much older. He's still a child, but like, yeah. Anyways, he's expected to be okay. Her mother told the station, he's just fighting. We just want prayers for him. So she was going to have another son. Just keep praying for him. So it says Smith also has an older son. Newkirk did not immediately respond to NBC News' request for comment Tuesday. She told WXIA that the family was required to keep Smith alive under the state's near total abortion ban, known as the Life Act. Even though they didn't save Adriana's life, I guess it didn't matter. Smith, whose family celebrated her 31st birthday Sunday, has been hospitalized since February after she initially sought treatment for severe headaches, her family said. Like, how is that giving life saving treatment? That's despicable. But please let me know what you think of this situation. I'm glad that we are getting an update. I've been thinking about her, like I said, for a little while. I don't know. I don't know. I wish that the family had a choice as well because this is cruel. People voted for this. People voted against other people's lives and voted for the torture of babies. Sickening.